Are we actually sitting here doing this? Yes. Again, I need every single person listening to my voice right now to understand the gravity of what we just witnessed. Losing a basketball game is one thing. In professional sports, losses happen. You have bad shooting nights. The ball does not bounce your way or the opposing team simply catches fire. We can accept a loss. What we absolutely cannot and will not accept is the disgusting, cowardly, and completely delusional display of zero accountability that we just watched in the Indiana Fever post-game press conference. What Stephanie White and Aliyah Boston just did at that podium was an absolute insult to the intelligence of every single basketball fan who pays their hard-earned money to watch this team play. We just witnessed an incredibly talented roster featuring a generational point guard who literally drives 26.5% of this league's entire economic ecosystem get completely outclassed, outworked, and outcoached by the Golden State Valkyries. And instead of looking in the mirror, instead of taking it on the chin like true professionals, the head coach and the star center sat at a microphone and blamed absolutely everyone and everything except themselves. Let us start right at the top of this disastrous press conference. The Indiana Fever just lost a heartbreaking tight game. The final offensive possessions were an absolute train wreck of miscommunication and panic. A reporter asked Stephanie White what she thought about the final 2 shots of the game. Now, a real coach, an honest coach would say, "We did not execute. We panicked under pressure. I need to draw up better plays." But what does Stephanie White say? What did you like about those final 2 shots? Both the one before the jump ball and then the one to try, and I thought they were both good looks. You know, they're a really good defensive team. And when you get an opportunity to get some clean looks, it's important. You know, I thought we got some good looks. She said she liked the looks. What on earth are you talking about, Stephanie? What game were you watching? Let us break down that specific possession before the jump ball. Caitlin Clark, being heavily trapped and blitzed, manages to thread a pass inside to Aliyah Boston. This is your franchise center. This is the player you gave a 4-year $6 million contract to. Boston catches the ball, and instead of making a strong, decisive, fundamental post move to the basket, she completely panics. She literally spins in circles like a top, looks absolutely terrified of the moment, and just indiscriminately flings the basketball up toward the rim with zero confidence and zero technique. It was an awful broken possession. But Stephanie White sits there with a straight face and tells the media, "I thought we got some good looks." It is pure delusion. It is a refusal to accept the reality of her own failing offensive system. But if you thought that was the worst part of the press conference, I need you to brace yourself, because what happened next is a fireable offense in any serious professional sports organization. A reporter asks Stephanie White a very specific tactical question. He asks if she expected number 4 on the Valkyries to play as much as she did in the second half. Question for coach. Did you expect number 4 for the Valkyries to play and look like you did in that second half? Yeah. Look, she didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Aliyah Boston had the point on the paper to show who she was talking about. She don't even know who number 4 is. Stephanie White wasn't prepared for her. Did you see that? Did you watch the video? Stephanie White had absolutely no idea who the reporter was talking about. She looked completely lost. Aliyah Boston literally had to lean over, look at the stat sheet, and physically point her finger at the piece of paper to show her own head coach who number 4 was. Stephanie White did not know the opposing roster. She was completely unprepared for a heavily utilized rotational player. This is a head coach making a massive salary whose entire job description is to watch film, scout the opposing team, and prepare her players for every possible scenario. And she does not even know the jersey numbers of the players actively destroying her defense on the court. It is genuinely embarrassing. She had this entire team ill-prepared from the opening tip. And speaking of being ill-prepared, let us pivot to Aliyah Boston. Boston spent the majority of the first half completely neutralizing herself. She is the biggest, strongest player on the floor for the Indiana Fever. And yet, she spent the first 2 quarters floating aimlessly around the 3-point line, refusing to use her physical advantage and committing some of the lowest basketball IQ fouls you will ever see in a professional game. So, when the media asks her about the challenges the Valkyries presented, does Boston take any accountability for her terrible footwork or her lack of discipline? Absolutely not. Yeah, I wasn't even able to get into a flow. I played the second half. I think it's super hard to try and figure out and understand how the refs are calling it. I think it's super hard to get charge fouls when I don't think anyone's in legal position. Shout out to the Val. They did a great job selling it and the rest bought it, to be honest. So good for them. Listen to her. Listen to the excuses. It is super hard to understand how the refs are calling it. I don't think anyone is in legal guarding position. Shout out to the Valkyries. They did a great job selling it and the refs bought it. Are you kidding me, Aliyah? You are in foul trouble every single game. It does not matter what city you are in. It does not matter what team you are playing, and it does not matter what officiating crew is blowing the whistle. You are consistently in foul trouble because you refuse to establish deep post position early in the shot clock. You wait until the defense is set. You lower your shoulder. You bulldoze into a stationary defender. And then you act completely shocked when the referee blows the whistle for an offensive charge. And instead of going into the film room humbling yourself and working on your drop step, you sit at a podium and accuse the opposing team of flopping and the referees of being fooled. It is the definition of a loser's mentality. It is always someone else's fault. And where does a player learn that kind of toxic behavior? Where does a player learn to deflect blame so comfortably? They learn it from their leader, they learn it from their head coach. Natalie Nass, the head coach of the Golden State Valkyries, coached absolute undisputed circles around Stephanie White tonight. When are you going to talk about your coaching? When are you going to talk about you not having your team ready in practice? When are you going to talk about anything that you did wrong? Natalie Nass coached circles around you, Stephanie White. When are you going to address it? Your team looked ill-prepared. We look unprepared damn near every game. This was ridicule. When are you going to talk about your own coaching, Stephanie? When are you going to address the fact that your team looked like they have not run a structured practice in 3 weeks? Nass made brilliant mid-game adjustments. She recognized the Fever's weaknesses and exploited them ruthlessly. Meanwhile, Stephanie White stood on the sideline with her arms crossed, watching her team completely unravel and did absolutely nothing to stop the bleeding. But I have saved the absolute worst, most infuriating moment of this entire press conference for last. This is the moment that proves without a shadow of a doubt that Stephanie White is completely unqualified to coach a generational talent like Caitlin Clark. A reporter asks White a very simple standard basketball question. He asks if there are any similarities or different wrinkles in how teams are guarding Caitlin Clark this year compared to last year. It is a softball question. It is an opportunity for a coach to talk about her star player's gravity. What is Stephanie White's response? Here where Caitlin Clark had a tough shooting game. Are there any similarities to how they guard her last year to this year? You throw any different wrinkles at the team? I don't know. I think she, what do you mean you don't know? They asked, is it similarities in how they guarded her last year to this year? This is the head coach. She said, I don't know. I don't know. She said, I don't know. What do you mean you do not know? Are you completely out of your mind? You are the head coach of the Indiana Fever. Your entire offensive system, your entire franchise, your entire job security relies entirely on your ability to understand how defenses are attacking Caitlin Clark. And your response to the media is, I don't know. Get her out of here. Pack up her office right now. If you do not know how they are guarding her, how on earth are you supposed to put her in a position to succeed to free her up? Nothing. You put her out there on the island, the girl gets blitzed and trapped all in. You created nothing for Caitlin Clark. You created nothing for Caitlin Clark. Like they're asking you about the similarities and how they're guarding her. You're saying you don't know. Maybe that's why you have no idea on how to free her up. You don't know. You don't know nothing. You never know anything. I don't know. Oh yeah. I don't know. You know, you did absolutely nothing to help Caitlin Clark tonight. Nothing. You put a 24-year-old point guard out there on a deserted island. She was getting face guarded 94 feet from the basket. She was getting violently blitzed on every single pick and roll. She was getting aggressively trapped in the corners. And what did you do, Stephanie? Did you run a double drag screen? Did you run staggered off ball screens to free her up? Did you run any elevator doors? No, you did nothing. You watched her fight for her life against 3 defenders and then you sit at the podium and say, I don't know. And while you were doing nothing for Caitlin, you also did nothing to stop the Valkyries on the other end of the floor. You let Veronica Burton play one-on-one isolation basketball the entire night. For the second game in a row, you blitzed Veronica Burton exactly 1 time the entire game. And guess what happened? It worked. It forced a turnover. And what did Stephanie White do after it worked perfectly? She never ever ran it again. This is not a slump. This is not a rough patch. This is a fundamental failure of leadership, preparation, and basketball intelligence. Caitlin Clark is fighting a war on 2 fronts right now. She is fighting the opposing defenses who want to physically destroy her. And she is fighting her own coaching staff who are too incompetent to help her and too arrogant to take accountability for their own failures. I'm sick and tired of the excuses. The fans are sick and tired of the excuses. This Stephanie White experiment is completely cooked. It is over. The front office needs to intervene immediately before they waste another prime year of the greatest offensive prospect this league has ever seen. I want every single one of you watching this video to get down in the comments right now. Do not hold back. What did you think about this embarrassing press conference? Are you as furious as I am about Aliyah Boston blaming the referees? Are you disgusted by Stephanie White saying I don't know when asked about Caitlin Clark? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because we are going to keep holding this franchise accountable every single day. This is WNBA Pro and I will see you in the next.